In the cozy hamlet of Emberroot Hollow, nestled beneath the whispering willows, and that one oak that absolutely gossips, the arrival of turnip season was less a celebration and more of a mandatory lifestyle shift. By decree of the Magical Homeowners Association, every citizen was to, number 1, plant exactly 9.5 turnips per cobblestone yard. Number 2, display a turnip wreath woven from enchanted vine on all doorknobs. Number 3, offer 1 tribute turnip to the neighborhood wizard, Mrs. Bramblethorn, who once turned a pumpkin into a neighborhood watch program. Non-compliance? You didn't want to know. Last year, Old Man Wittershanks ignored regulation number 4, no unauthorized glowing turnips, and woke up with a cursed fence that heckled his guests. And so, as the season shifted, Emberroot Hollow became a sea of lavender-tinged fields, glowing gently at night like ruddy little lanterns. The air smelled faintly of magic and soup. But this year was different, because one rebellious gnome, Tibble Tock, had planted radishes. Radishes! In full view. No glamour spell, no apology note baked into a muffin. And now, the M.H.O.A. cauldron bubbled. The scrolls flew, the enchanted mailbox shrieked, whispers in the wind carried warnings. It's happening again, like the parsnip uprising of 82. And somewhere, deep within her mossy cottage, Miss Bramblethorn slowly stirred her tea. It swirled in quiet fury. She didn't even like turnips, but order must be rooted. Tibble Tock, for his part, was unrepentant. He wore his radish hat, yes, hat, with pride. A jaunty little thing dyed crimson and shaped like a vegetable revolution. He even tied a ribbon around his mailbox with a note that read, "Dear M.H.O.A, my soil, my soul, my root of choice. With defiance and dill, Tibble Tock." Which was, frankly, a bold move in a hamlet where even the hedges filed complaints. By midweek, the enchanted weather vane above the bakery had spun itself into a legal sigil. The gingerbread council was in session, and the scones were tense. Children whispered nursery rhymes with new urgency. First the parsnips, then the peas, next the radish rebellion, please. And Miss Bramblethorn, she wasn't stirring tea anymore. She was consulting the binder. A cursed 3-ring grimoire, bound in regulation parchment and held together with the regret of 1,000 ignored bylaws. It opened to a page that hadn't quivered in a century. Chapter 13, the Root Rebellion Clause. The ink shimmered, the page whispered. One root out of line and the garden crumbles. Tibble Tock and the Unlawful Root. On Thursday, which in Emberroot Hollow was legally designated Mid-Turnip Appreciation Day and unofficially known as the Day of Root-Scented Regret, Tibble Tock hosted a radish reveal party. There were lanterns strung from the gossipy oak. There was a banner that read, "If you've got the spice, don't fear the slice." There were muffins. So many muffins, suspiciously shaped like bylaws. And at the heart of it all stood Tibble himself, arms akimbo, radish hat gleaming with dew and defiance. He welcomed guests with a bow and a tray of radish jam tarts, mini pickled rebellion bites. Regret not turnip punch, subtly hexed to taste like victory. The neighborhood came, of course. They always do. Even Miss Bramblethorn, who arrived fashionably grim, her familiar, a possum named Horace, wrapped dramatically around her shoulders like a statement shawl. "Tibble," she said, voice like dry parchment and buried secrets. "You've violated subsection Root 2, Clause 3. No deviant planting in public soil without prior illusion." Tibble just grinned. "You brought tea, though." Miss Bramblethorn looked down. She had, in fact, brought tea, spiced radish chai. Her eye twitched. The Great Tibble Tock Tribunal. The fire crackled politely in the Hearth Amphitheater as the town gathered for Madcap Monday. Thistle, resplendent in his robes of questionable wool and wizard-grade lint, stood atop the speaking stump. His beard had been trimmed exactly halfway, giving him the unfortunate look of a magical before and after ad. "Order!" Thistle called, slapping his staff once on the mosaic stone ring. And by that I do mean semi-chaotic harmony in accordance with Clause 4 of the Madcap Charter. A chorus of murmurs rippled through the crowd. At the center of it all, Tibble Tock lounged smugly in the seat of considerable suspicion, which was a chair made entirely of dried moss and passive judgment. His radish hat was freshly polished, his boots muddy with intent. Across the fire, Mrs. Bramblethorn consulted the binder, its pages glowing ominously beneath her lace gloves. "Section 27, she read, voice sharp enough to slice a turnip. "Violation of botanical order. Recommended sentence, community service involvement, involving unpleasant weeds and the disposal of magically animated cabbage husks." Gasps. Basil Underwhistle, head of the town's compost diplomacy committee, stood with his monocle trembling. "But if we punish Tibble, we risk inspiring the rogue root factions." "You mean the pea pods?" someone whispered. "The pea pods," Basil confirmed. "And worse, the rutabaga resistance." A chicken squawked. No one had brought a chicken. "May I speak in my defense?" Tibble asked, rising with the drama of a 4-act thunderstorm. "I chose the radish. I honored the soil. I ribboned my mailbox, and I would do it again. This town was built on odd vegetables, and we have forgotten our roots." Thistle blinked slowly. "Was that a pun?" Tibble nodded. "I regret nothing." The room exploded into chaotic debate. Some wanted reform. Others wanted his hat confiscated. One person offered to swap him for a zucchini. And still, the binder glowed quietly, as if amused. The accordant turnip gratin, as mandated by the M.H.O.A. and enforced by Mrs. Bramblethorn's tea-stained glare. To prepare this dish is to uphold the ancient root-bound accord. Proceed only if your wreaths are hung, your tributes offered, and your fence has stopped heckling passers-by. Ingredients: 9½ turnips, the legal amount. A whisper of rosemary, not spoken aloud. 1 enchanted shallot, diced under moonlight. 3 cloves of garlic that know too much. Half a cup of heavy cream, emotionally repressed. 1 cup of grated root cheese, aged in passive aggression. A single radish for garnish, for defiance. Salt to taste, preferably your enemy's tears. Instructions. Peel your turnips with the solemnity of a treaty negotiation. If one rolls away, let it go. That one has its own story now. Number 2. Slice thinly, like the line between order and root-based revolution. Number 3. Sauté the shallot and garlic in a pan of whispered warnings until translucent with regret. Number 4. Layer turnips in a baking dish. Between each layer, add cheese, cream, and commentary about Mrs. Bramblethorn's suspiciously sentient fence. Number 5. Top with remaining cheese and the radish, sliced into a passive-aggressive flourish. Number 6. Bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit until the edges bubble like political unrest and the center is soft enough to make you reconsider your allegiance. Serving suggestion. Serve warm, preferably on a tense autumn evening when the squirrels are still flying. Pairs well with radish punch and uneasy alliances.